Thank you, Doug. Good evening, everyone. I have a note here to acknowledge some special guests who are in the audience. We have Assemblywoman Ellen Jaffe here tonight. Rockland County Legislator Connie Coker. And Nyack Mayor Richard Cavish. So you have hired us to advise, but I want to be very clear what tonight is. Tonight is about hearing from you after we sort of set the table with some basic information that first restates much of what you already know, but has taken place over a period of time through various studies, through ambitious, grassroots efforts to really think about what is in the greatest interest of the stakeholders of the village of Nyack in terms of the future redevelopment, future use of the Superblock site. And so we're going to talk tonight about not a set of development options per se that you need to vote on. We want to talk tonight about a set of planning and development principles. We want to focus on principles. And we'd like to talk about them and open it up for as much dialogue and discussion so that whatever happens in the future, and we know it will never be the very thing that everybody says tonight, we all agree this is what we're going to do. It's guided by a set of principles that are codified in any future request for expressions of interest or requests for proposals, or any plan that gets adopted by the village about future redevelopment of the site. So we'd like to start with principles, and we thought it made sense tonight by starting to recap our understanding from the baseline information that's already out there, and all the good work that you've done. So let's do a quick review of past studies and conclusions. Well, there was the comprehensive plan in 2007. In fact, a very comprehensive plan. I'm going to do a little Liddy Dole here and break away from the mic, if you don't mind. The 2009 report from the Citizens Committee, there was the mayor's white paper on the redevelopment for the Superblock. The local waterfront revitalization program is a statutorily required document. It speaks to the relationship of the Superblock to the rest of the village. County planning documents have dealt with the role of that municipal lot and the ways that it might be redeveloped. And then most recently, and I think the thing that really was a catalyst for this latest set of discussions about that future was a plan that was really put forth by Riverspace as a proposal, as an idea for the potential of this site. And tonight we're really taking another look at those series of proposed ideas and trying to think of them in terms of principles. And where's the commonality among them of those principles? And maybe introduce a few other ideas tonight. So if you'll indulge me, we'll walk through some of that. Then we want to talk about why redevelopment of the Superblock might be in village stakeholder interest from an economic standpoint, from a planning standpoint, from a fiscal standpoint, from a question of quality of life and social equity and the like. So we have a lot of ground to cover. You back? Okay. There's a lot of information to cover, so I may go a little bit quickly. So bear with us. We'll open it up, and we have a lot of time for questions. Here are a series of common themes that run through many of the studies we see. There's general agreement, and I should say also, we really are grateful for so much time that so many people have already given to our team. The merchants, the property owners, the residents, the civic associations, the societies, the elected officials, the people who live immediately adjacent to the site. We've had a number of meetings. We're hoping that tonight leads to a number of other discussions and a lot more feedback if we haven't talked to you directly. But again, the common themes include many of these things. We need to strengthen the local economy. All businesses are suffering. We need to do more to try to to maintain more activity, more feet on the street, as they say. This village is among the most diverse places certainly in Rockland County, maybe even in the region, and it's one of your defining characteristics. You are a diverse place in a relatively not diverse suburban area. Ground floor retail is something that really enlivens the life of the downtown, and urban renewal slum clearances all over the country wiped out whole sections of property and are the scars in what was otherwise an intact walkable urban fabric. So one of the things we need to think about is how to restitch that and make that active again. Again, enhancing village character. Everything we talk about tonight should be not about X number of housing units or a parking garage or no parking garage or the size of a cultural arts center. It should all be driven by something fundamental. And what's so great about seeing this many people here is it really comes down to what your collective vision is of what this village should be in the future. What do you want Nyack to be going forward? And based on that, let's agree on principles that set that in some sort of framework and guide future development. Again, making reconnections, those are always important. They're back doors and front doors. How can we make more front doors? A mix of use is more economically viable. Let's limit the amount of impact that parking will have throughout the district. Artist spaces are things that people say over and over again. Nyack is known throughout the world, really, as an artist colony, as an artist community. You have, it's in the DNA of this place. That's, if you will, your brand. To the extent that you can reinforce that and continue to make that part of why people come here throughout the region, why people live here, it's the ethos of this place. It's part of how people think of this place. It's a really important thing that we want to try to embed in some future plan. Height limits are critical. A lot of discussion has happened around that. There is the practical need to deal with a stream running through your site, and you've got bus service that serves a broad spectrum of the population. Now, let me back up and briefly introduce our team. HR&A advisors, real estate and economic advisors, we're leading an interdisciplinary team. My colleague, R.G. Cahill, is here. H3 Hardy Collaborative is a design and cultural arts design firm. John Fontillis is the partner in charge here tonight, and Eric Galipa as well. Sicardi and Schiff, planning firm. John Sicardi is here tonight, and Patrick Hughes. And then our parking and traffic and transportation consultant, John Collins, also here tonight. So we've got a broad spectrum of skill sets that are going to overlay over the life of this project. The core of what we're doing is to find out how redevelopment can enhance both the physical character and the economic vitality and vibrancy. And on top of that, specifically, how cultural arts uses can be part of that mix. Now, we start with a fundamental challenge here. Whereas many urban renewal assemblages that we work on are in single ownership, and if we're lucky, they're in government ownership, which has the ability to do something on behalf of the public. This is a site that actually is in multiple ownership. Two private parties and the village. The village owns roughly 2/3 of the land area, but one parcel is owned by Millbrook, which is a Long Island commercial owner and operator of mostly shopping centers in the New York area and in Florida. There are agreements, as many of you know, between Millbrook and River Space, where option agreements exist for River Space to possibly purchase that. Similar option agreements have existed between River Space and M&T Bank, which owns this private parcel on the corner of Franklin and Main. So there's a little bit of complexity here. Tonight, as much as we would love to get into the discussion of how are we going to make this work because we have multiple owners, we're not going to talk about that tonight. That's going to be one of the ground rules. We're going to be back with specific recommendations and proposed strategies for meeting the public benefit goals and the private investment and business interests that will lead to the plan that is built around this common set of principles, but we're not there yet, and we need to do more analysis. So I'm framing this as one of the key discussion points for tonight, but it's a key factor. But it also, it informs what we're going to show you later as 4 illustrative planning scenarios. We've talked to a number of diverse groups, cultural, neighborhood, property owners. And here we are in the midst of a process that we hope will be concluded by November. We're at our first meeting. We'll be back after we've done feasibility assessments and have recommendations to present findings and to ask for comment and feedback. Now, again, tonight we're going to ask for input about 2 key things. Program, what should be on this site? And plan, how should a variety of different uses be configured? How should they be oriented? What should they relate to? What should they try to reconnect? What is the context that that would be built in? And how to do it in a way that is sympathetic and, again, enhancing and additive to what is already great about the village. So, I'm going to, in broad terms, discuss 4 key principles that have been in the public realm for discussion. One is that redevelopment of this superblock can enhance the downtown. Well, in what ways? Think about this as the superblock. Here's Franklin, here's Main, here's Cedar. The idea ultimately would be to create lots of little feet all over the sidewalk here, all times of day and night and all times of the year. This is a good thing for a core downtown. Right now, there's very little reason for anyone to be walking around there. Those stores in the Riverspace building violate every rule about retailing. You never want to go upstairs and downstairs, and they're set back from the street. So there's some basic principles that we'll talk about some more. Ground floor retail, upper floor uses. This is one of the wonderful things about your otherwise very healthy downtown.